Hey guys, welcome back. It's Yassine Zarka here, and we are going to be teaching Crime and Punishment and looking at how suffering is expressed through many different characters throughout the book. So let's start off right off the bat on page 134. Here we have where Raskolnikov here, this is him after meeting with Razumikin and Zamayetov, and he was asleep at first. And while he was asleep, Razumikin wakes him up and tells him that he was raving off in his sleep, and he was worried that he would give away his guilt, talking about the crime he committed when he was talking about in his sleep. So he kept pestering him and asking him, "What did I do? What was I saying? Etc." And all that. And you can see the suffering there because obviously he's worried that people are going to find out what the crime he did about killing the pawnbroker and whatnot. But thankfully, fortunately for Raskolnikov, Razumikin doesn't know enough, so he kind of ignored what he was saying just because he was asleep. All right. So let's move on to the next passage on page 179. And here we see Raskolnikov. He was just walking through the streets, and we can see that right here where she drowned herself, we see a lady tries to commit suicide by throwing herself in water. And Raskolnikov, before, he was suffering with internal conflict. He was wondering whether he should commit suicide or not. And once he experiences this lady try to commit suicide, and she gets saved by the police as a policeman jumps in, he then realizes, he's like, wow, okay, maybe suicide isn't all of that, and he was thankful, as we can see right here on this page on 180, where Raskolnikov looked upon it all with a strange feeling of indifference and detachment. He was disgusted. No, it's vile. The water better not. So right there, he decided he was not going to commit suicide himself, and just wanted to, stay alive and try to escape from the authorities and try to keep it as hidden as possible. But he is still obviously in a lot of conflict with himself as whether or not he should confess his crime or not. And we can see that right here, when he had left the house determined to end it all, total apathy had taken its place. Right here, we can see that he is no longer wants to commit suicide anymore. All right. Now it's time to head to our third passage here in Crime and Punishment on page 338. And here we can see Raskolnikov. This is his first encounter with Sonia in the book. And we can see that he talks through the experiences that Sonia had with her suffering as, turning herself into prostitution and all of that. We can see here in the first paragraph right here, it says, "I said it of you not for dishonor and sin, but for your great suffering, but that you are a great sinner is true," he added almost ecstatically. "And most of all, you are a sinner because you destroyed yourself and betrayed yourself in vain." So here, he feels comfortable talking with Sonia because he's going through a lot of suffering. She's going through a lot of suffering. So what better not to talk to someone who's feeling the same pain as you? That's obviously what he goes and does. And he learns a lot from Sonia through her experiences. And then she eventually explains to him why she did the prostitution, because, she needed money and all of that. And Raskolnikov, right down here towards the end, but he fully understands the monstrous pain she suffered and had long been suffering at the thought of her dishonorable and shameful position. So now, he has this, he knows what she went through, similar to what he's going through right now with his own suffering of whether should I confess, should I not confess the crime, and all of that. Our fourth passage within the book is on page 427, and here, this is Raskolnikov's second encounter with Sonia. Whether he is really in his own internal battle of whether he should confess the crime to Sonia or not. We can see right here, he contemplates of saying, because he foresaw a terrible torment for himself, which he tried, as it were, to wave away. He didn't want to, but he realized if he did confess, bad things would happen to him, and he would, wouldn't be the best. But obviously, bad things are happening to him right now, currently in the book. And then on the next page, we see on page 429, we see right here where down here, Sonia cried with suffering. You're leading up to something again. Can it be that you came to only torment me? This is when Raskolnikov, throughout these next 2 pages, Raskolnikov is kind of building up, saying, asking her, building up whether he's about to confess. And then eventually, on the next page, he says, he tells her, take a good look and guess who did it. And then he finally confesses that he killed Lizaveta. And then right here, come Sonia, enough, don't torment me, he begged with suffering. This is Sonia's giving him, she's starting to question him and wondering like what he did, why he did it and all of that. And so now here they're both suffering because Raskolnikov is not sure what's going to happen to him, and Sonia is now in despair because that close friend to her killed one of her also closest friend. And this is kind of a very very tormentful kind of part in the book. I just want to say, as we move on to our last passage, I hope you guys are excited as I am to talk about this last passage here in Crime and Punishment. Without further ado, let's get going. On page 544, right here, this is where I think the greatest amount of suffering we see in Crime and Punishment, because this is Raskolnikov's last encounter with his family before he goes off to jail. This is after he's confessed to the police and everyone knows. We see here, Rodya, my dear firstborn, sobbing, you're the same now as when you were little and used to come to me in the same way and embrace me and kiss me in the same way. Here he is saying final goodbye to his mother. And then down here, enough, Mama, Raskolnikov said, deeply regretting his decision to come. He's going to be very sad because he's not going to be able to see his family for a while. For the 8 years or so he's going to be locked up. And when he's saying his final goodbye to Dunya, he says, the look she fixed upon him showed horror and unappeasable grief. And from that look alone, he understood immediately that she knew everything. Right there, we see that Dunya knew exactly what he did in the past and before he actually confessed verbally to her. And you can see that she will be upset that she won't have her brother anymore around. Same with his mom. She won't have her eldest son with her around. And it's kind of like a hard thing for the family as Raskolnikov is going to be taken away into labor camps and whatnot in prison in Siberia. It's just, anyways, sorry for the cutoff of the video. I don't know what happened, but I just want to say thank you all for listening today to my presentation of me teaching about suffering and different characters through Crime and Punishment. I really appreciate you guys' time. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down in the comments below. I just want to say thank you, Ms. Wilkinson. Thank you so much for listening and giving me your time. So, without further ado, Yassine out. See you guys next time.